anything. So when he enter a text or anything, so your program crash. So this is called exception. So this is actually a case of an exception. Your program is running, he is asking you to enter data, but you entered wrong data, so your program crashed because you don't have exception handling in your program. Okay, so that's what we need to understand, that how to make this program answer these type of error. Now this is one of the error. This error comes because of input mismatch. And this class, he wakes up if you don't give the data which you said I will give. For example, here you said I will give next int, integer. Even if you enter a double, so for example 5 point whatever, again your program will crash because the data is double and you said I will give you integer. So this is actually called exception. So this type of exception, when it occurs whenever you have input mismatch exception, means when the data is entered wrong. Correct? Now let's run this program again, and suppose you entered the data correct, 4 and 0. Now again this is an exception. Now see the exception, it is now different. It is arithmetic exception. This is another type of exception. Your data is entered correct, 4 is correct data, it's a number, 0 is also a number. But this is not allowed. In mathematics, you cannot divide any number by 0, right? So that is why Java throws arithmetic exception divide by 0. So you see a very small program and he is behaving differently based on different data. So this basically is an example of exception. So exception might occur because of any reason, different types of reasons are there. So that's why you have different classes that basically responsible for having these exceptions, arithmetic exception. Now let's see the other type. Suppose you are using an array in your program. Okay. Now these two exceptions I hope you already understand. Now let's try to say like this. How many array you have? You have 3. That means 0, 1, 2. And what you are doing, you are trying to access 6. Which is not there. So now when you run, you see your program is here. So you enter a data here. So let's enter correct data. Then let's enter correct data. See what happens after these two statement executes. Now your program is here. Once he see this line, immediately he will throw an exception, and you see the type of exception is a different one. Arrays index out of bound exception. So this type of exception occur only when you are dealing with the array. So if you have array problem and you try to access some values or some index which is not array, so this type of exception will occur.
Bound.
You understand the point? Now, so we need to deal with these type of errors when we are writing our code. We don't want this red, that's output or red, this message appears when my program is running.
Continue.
Yes. So that's what we are trying to understand in this chapter. What is an exception? Now, I hope you have some idea that what is now an exception in your code. So exceptions are runtime errors that appears in your code because of so many different reasons. I have shown you 3 reasons: input mismatch, arithmetic, right? Divide by 0, and then this is the array index out of bound exceptions. Okay, so this is clear, I hope. So how to deal with it? Now let's go back to the slide. So basically, let's see this picture that will be more clear to us. So in Java, you have a class called exception. So this is the parent of all the exceptions.